Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young and I'm one of your guided, instructive hosts. Joining me as always is our other guided and instructive host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
So I was listening to our episode where we recorded in your office.
Yeah.
The sound quality is so good.
It is. And I was surprised how good it was.
I know.
Yeah,
I was like,
really
this is the best sound quality we've ever had. So sorry, everyone. That
So we always have to record in person.
we do. I know.
That's going to be a bit of a commute, but that's what we'll do for you,
That's right.
the listeners.
That's right. Once a week, fly to Ireland, sit in front of Andy's backwards microphone.
Yeah.
I might sound a little weird and wonky because I have braces. I only have half of them, but I have braces on the upper part of my teeth. And different from when I'm not as genetically advanced as Andy, as you are, because you never had braces.
I was superior.
You are superior.
Yeah, superior.
So I had braces for like 4. I know I've talked about this already, but I've had braces for 4.5 years, like in elementary and all of middle school. So from 10 to 13. No, 9 something ages in there. Through, I don't know, 14. Mm-hmm. It was a long time. And now there's so much, I mean, granted, I'm in a little bit of pain, but it's so much better. And they used to put brackets on your top teeth and put wire in and turn the wire and pull it. Yeah. And it was always you were always basically bleeding inside your mouth. These are what I have for those who are questioning whether or not they want to get braces as a fucking adult. These are ceramic, so they're actually clear, and all you can see is I have white bumps on my teeth and wire, which I don't know if that's any better than just having regular fucking braces.
I think this also means, right, you can go through airport security without getting flagged, right? I wondered, it just occurred to me there because you said ceramic, and I was like, I wonder do metal braces set off metal detectors?
You'd be surprised what does not. I actually had a box cutter in my purse for 6 months. Yeah. Uh-huh. It was one of the things where my dad's here's a weapon and some mace, just keep it in your bag. And I was traveling and visiting Mike in LA and San Diego, early on in dating. And I didn't know I had them in my purse. And then I found them in my bag. And I was I've literally been on an airplane 6 times in the last 2 months and no one caught this. The fact that I literally have a box cutter and a bottle of mace in my bag. So I took them out because I knew if I went to the airport that day, they were going to catch me because I knew it was in my bag kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. They would see you sweating and they would be
I know. Right.
She's hiding something.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just the laws of things, right?
No, that's just also true, yeah.
Yeah, so.
I think... No, I'm not going to get into that. But I think box cutters are allowed because the blades are of a certain length. Because it's I've had scissors flagged before, but I've always checked. And they take the scissors, they go into my bag, they take the scissors out, they get a measuring tape. And they're yeah, these are fine. Seriously? But they're rounded edge scissors, just but yeah, baffling.
I mean, you can stab anybody with anything.
This is true. Where there's a will, there's a way.
It really...
And wasn't there a thing? There was something recently. I could have been misquoting this. They did a test.
Yes, we did talk about that. Where not on pod, but
yeah, where they checked to see how effective airport security was, and they found that basically it would make very little difference if there was no airport security at all.
Yeah, it was something crazy. 90% of the things that weren't supposed to get through got through.
Yeah,
and that's what we learned. So yeah, I think I'll be fine.
Yeah. Just travel with box cutters. Everyone, that's our advice. First piece of advice for this podcast, just in case.
But I have this tiny little Swiss Army knife that's literally maybe 2 inches long, and it's got little scissors and a little toothpick, and it's got little daisies on it, and it's super cute, and it just goes on your keychain, nice. Right? No, I don't use nail files, but I know you do.
Yeah. Look at these babies. I'm showing Beth
this sweet little mittens. Anyways, what was my point?
Blades on flights.
Oh, they took it. They were like, you
Oh,
can't have
really?
this. My tiny little pocket knife.
They suck.
Like, the blade was probably, like, half the size of a pair of tweezers. So.
That's some bullshit.
I know. Can't hijack any planes with that
No,
size.
no, you get. I mean, honestly, and I mean, I don't want to be condoning this, but if you manage to hijack a plane with like a Swiss Army knife, then you probably earned that plane.
We're horrible people.
You know what I mean?
We're horrible people. What's the crack with you? Because I am all over the place today.
Okay, so I spent some time with some friends I haven't seen in a while at the weekend. That was lovely. I think I've been saying to Beth that I've kind of noticed a difference between the past few months in that, like, April was very much a right save money for May. It's going to be a big month, and it was miserable. And I'm like, and then I've just been spending time with people and doing things, which includes when Beth was visiting, and it has been so much better for my mental health. And so I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to figure out a way to get a bit more money, and which I have been doing, and because I it is a need for me, I think, to actually be out there and spending time with people. And as much as like I am anxious about it a lot of the time, when I actually go and do it, it feels great. The feeling I have after is also great. So yeah, it's just this is not a new revelation, but like so many revelations in my life, they need to be like compounded
Beaten in
again and again and again over time.
Like, Andy, you like to be around
yes.
people. Andy. So was it, can I just take all the credit for that then?
Sure.
Was it me invading your space for a week for you to be like, I need to be around people more?
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, I'd say so. Like, I was a huge part of it for sure. I mean, and that was just the beginning of the roller coaster, the May roller coaster, which has been friggin' rad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And honestly,
like, you're not.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna give you verbal credit. Like, that's it.
Fine.
There's gonna be no reward attached to this. Sorry.
I'm never bringing you Reese's ever again.
Oh no! What have I done?
But I had a similar realization. I think we talked about it a little bit, but like I realized just like how you are in the world and like meeting all your people. And I was like, he's totally got community set up in all ways, and like probably it's like oozing out of your ears, And I was 100%. Like, I need more of that. And so I have been like actively like trying to like have phone dates with people, have Zoom dates with people, go for walks with friends, and it is good. It's a good thing.
No, that is a good thing.
Yeah.
I like it. So one other thing before I forget, because they're sitting here and I have written it down. So I got some blue light. Oh, are they sitting nice? I got some blue light glasses to help me sleep at night, because like I try not to be on screens when I am in bed, but like I am.
How does that work out for you?
I mean, not great. Like my iPad's in the room, and I try to. I'm gonna take this back.
Do you actually read like actual books before you fall asleep?
I read my Kindle more often, but like because of the nature of that screen, it's not so bad. I think because it's that ink, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, they make it more palatable for the eyeballs.
They do. It's not really super bright, so it's not so bad. But my iPad's in my room too often, and I leave my phone out of my room, and I have done for years now when I sleep, because I was scrolling on my phone. But I'm just doing it on the iPad now, so I think I need to like eject it from the room as well. But I'm holding on.
I mean,
it's hard to resist the pull of like Reddit.
I know.
Doom scrolling.
I know. Now I'm like expanding my Reddit tendrils, and like there's subreddits for everything.
There is, and like some of them are good. Like I mean, it's I've Skull and Villainy for the most part for sure, but there are some decent communities on there, and like some of the podcasts that I listen to, there's some really good communities that are part of that. I mean, like there's assholes in all of them, but there's some interesting people that have got like good recommendations for stuff. And, it's nice, or it can be nice if you curate it properly.
So, do you have any other crack?
Oh yeah, one other thing. I'm going to do this as a promotion thing as well is my mighty hike is coming up in
Oh, yay! Okay, explain what that
just
is.
over a month. So I am doing a hike that is marathon distance. It is along the north coast of Northern Ireland. It is from Coleraine to Carrick-a-Reid rope bridge, which Beth saw when she was over. Maybe you saw that rope bridge.
I did. I remember the rope bridge of death. Yes.
The rope bridge of death. So we're doing that in one day. It's for Macmillan, which is a cancer research charity. I'm saying this now because we record a bit ahead of time, so I think by the time this comes out, I won't have done it. We will post a link to my sponsorship page and like QR codes and stuff like that. If you could sponsor me, that will be rad. I will also be talking about this in my Bringing Joy at the end, just to remind everybody. But yeah, so I'm starting to gear up for that, and like I've got a little bit of sponsorship now. Like I mean, last week I had nothing, but I've got a little bit now. So I think that's, you know, I'm getting started here, and I'm gonna keep going from there and see if I can actually get, because it's like you need to raise 250 quid as a minimum. So but you know, if I could get that, I'll need to get at least that. But if I could go beyond that, that would be rad, because I think it's a very worthwhile cause.
Agreed.
So yeah.
So send me that info, and I'll start putting it
will.
up like today.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep
Thank
it
you.
going until what day is the race?
It's 22nd of June.
Okay. So we have a month.
So
we
got
can
some
do
time.
that.
Yeah, I think so. But that's it. That's all I have for now. What about yourself?
I just wanted to talk about Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
Cinematic masterpiece.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So Harper's been super into, my 9-year-old daughter's been super into Planet of the Apes. So we watched the original Charlton Heston version, and last night was Sunday movie night, and so Mike was like, what about like the next one, the remake with Mark Wahlberg and Helena Bonham Carter? And I was like, yeah, I don't remember it being very good, but like it's been so long, right? It was like 2003 or 2001 or something. It is literally, how did it get a 5.7 out of 10? It is the worst movie I've ever seen. Ever.
Was Mike like trying to pull on a prank or something like
I don't
that?
know. He just kept leaving the room. And I'm like sitting there with the kids, like, okay, I guess I'm stuck here.
Way to just
I watched the whole thing. And I think it was like the point where they're like chasing somebody through the ape town, and like there's like a back alley with some ape teenagers, and they literally have an ape bong.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like listening to ape rock music, like being hoodlums with their leather jackets on. And I was like, I can't even. Like, how does an ape know how to build a bong?
It's true. Hey, they're smarter. That's how smart they are. They can make their own bongs.
Like, glasswork.
When I think
Not even plastic. Like, someone blew this glass bong. Some ape.
It's impressive.
I know.
Scary, you know? I mean, like, just shows you the level of technology they're working with. You be careful. You know, when I think about Planet of the Apes, you know the first thing that comes to mind is the Simpsons one where Troy McClure was in it. And
Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
Where it was, I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee. I think it was the stage production, I think that was it.
The stage production of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. Sorry, Troy McClure. Yeah.
Sorry, Troy McClure.
So good. Yeah, because I said to Beth, I'm going to go and see the most recent one, which is the name of which I don't even know. Is it? No, it's not right. I don't.
Return, Dawn of,
whatever. Something
Revolution of.
Yeah, the Planet of the Apes. So you know, which I am looking forward to because I've enjoyed the other recent ones.
You fool!
But I think they've been pretty good for the most part. But I am. And having said that, if I didn't have like my movie pass, I don't think I'd bother. I am more excited for Furiosa, which is starting next weekend.
30th?
Yeah. Well, we're getting are we getting it before you guys? Whoa.
I think so.
I think we're getting the 25th. No, 20. I don't know. This week.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't actually know what date.
Yeah.
And It will. No one can correct us because it'll already be out by the time. Unless you really want to, be right. Fine. But it's already out. By the time this comes
they
out.
love being right.
I know.
What
you know who you are.
Saying, yes, exactly. Just to put a pin in this, don't go and see Furiosa. Instead, sit at home and watch Tim Burton's
Planet of the Apes
remake.
Please don't leave me alone in this.
Treat yourself.
Treat yourself
to some Planet of the Apes insanity. So, do you have any what's occurring for this week?
I don't. We had someone call us candy apples, and I don't know what that means. Okay. But it was like hearts. I know. They were like, the candy apples have a podcast. And I was like, and then I Googled candy apples, and it can either be like something really gross or something really great. So I'm going to go with great.
I mean, if there was hearts, probably
there were hearts.
Great. Yeah, okay. I'll take it. That's nice. Yeah. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, it was when we were like talking about Got Milk and calling advertisers dicks, so.
Yeah, fight the power.
Except for sponsor us.
Yeah, exactly. Like, fight the power of people that don't sponsor
us.
But, like, we will be completely corporate shills for anybody who wants to give us money, of course, naturally as well.
Yeah.
As is the way.
As is the way of finding absolute power. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you want to jump into our topic?
Yeah. Let's jump into our topic. Do you have a name for this episode?
Best advice I've ever gotten.
Okay, like it. Yeah, it's that.
Best advices I've ever gotten.
Best advices I've ever gotten. I prefer. It's a good punch.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So yeah, we're just going to talk today, just about that, exactly that subject. About advice that we've gotten in our life, what it was, what it has meant to us, maybe how it has like resonated throughout the years, and it very much I think this is a good one. I think everybody has pieces of advice like this that have kind of helped them in their lives and probably still shape their lives. It's an interesting one because it's something that whenever I was thinking about it, I was able to put some stuff down, but I struggled to identify where it came from a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't know whether that you found that too.
I did.
And it's which is odd because I thought when I started this thinking about this subject that it would be very much I remember when this person said this to me, and it just didn't pan out that way at all.
I thought, I had a similar, like I was digging and I was like, okay, like what situation? And I remember getting general advice, but I don't remember necessarily the words. I just remember more the message, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think that's where I'm at with it as well.
So some of it is, I've basically like paraphrased.
Yeah.
But the message is there, so.
I think, like, even some of it, like, I started writing down things like, advice that I have even maybe given other people, and like, it's almost certainly come from somewhere else, but, so, as a way to kick things off, and it's something that I think about so much, I don't know where I got this from, but, I think this is probably and certainly a lot of like the recent stuff I think about is through yoga or is through therapy in recent years. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty certain it was one of my therapists who gave me this piece of advice, which was when you're making a change in your life, think about moving towards something positive than moving away from something negative. So have it like be a positive sort of move rather than I need to escape this thing, whatever that thing is, be it a relationship, be it a place, be it a work situation, etc., etc. And I think that is because certainly in my experience, and it has happened to me in my life, when I have made changes because I'm like, I hate this and I'm just leaving, it really isn't, it rarely works out in the way that I would hope. Do you know what I mean? It's just oftentimes changing one bad situation for another bad situation.
That's a really good piece of advice. And I will say, like, I've had jobs, especially, where I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I'm still it's been, there's one job that I had um, where I worked at a college for a decade, and I'm still dealing with feelings over that experience.
Yeah.
And I still feel like I got out of something that was really difficult, and I'm still processing it. And I
Absolutely.
quit in like 2014. But it's like, if I think of it as like moving, but that put me into, this whole nother avenue of my life instead of like sometimes still being angry about it.
Yeah.
I like that a
Uh,
lot.
and I can absolutely relate to that. I mean, there's definitely things in my life that happened to me years ago that I've still not processed properly, and I've tried. Like, and I mean, certainly the path I've been on in recent years in my life, I have better tools for like doing that, I think. But there's still, it's hard to like regulate your emotions with a lot of this stuff, and things will occur to you, and you'll just get flashes of like anger or a resentment or whatever, and it can be hard to kind of keep on top of them.
It's true. And I think we both kind of like, what's the word? Where you just kind of go back and you like, you're in the whirlpool of like old
Oh,
thoughts and old feelings. You know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I do know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
And I get stuck there sometimes. And I think that's just a really good, like, remembering those words will help. Like, okay, reframe.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one for you.
Okay.
Um, less talking, more listening.
Oh yeah, I have that exact thing written down.
Really?
Well, not exactly, but
Yeah.
yeah, very, very similar. Yeah.
And it's funny. It's something that I absolutely think I'm good at, but I'm noticing as I'm like coming back to life a little bit more that I'm starting to do the thing where I'm listening to I'm actively listening, but I'm actively also thinking about what I'm going to
Yeah.
like how I'm going to contribute to the conversation and like what I'm going to say that also has to do with what you're saying but is also like probably funnier.
Yeah. Like yeah. Shut up. Shut up.
I
Shut
don't
up.
know.
Shut
Here's my story.
up. Yeah.
And so, but like, I, I don't want to keep talking about work as an example, but I'm probably going to have to with some of this. Like with work, I was really good at not talking as much and listening more. But I think I
Yeah.
just need to transfer that into my personal life.
Yeah. I, and I think it's a nervous thing a lot of the time. I also think it's an insecurity thing. You know what I
Shut
mean?
up,
Like,
Andy.
hey, look, I'm just saying this because I'm talking about my how I do very much the same thing, and I think what has been helpful for me in terms of that is I really love listening to people. Like, I mean, I just prefer that to talking, honestly, and like I think I've said about it on pod before, like there is nothing brings me greater joy than hearing somebody speak passionately about something they love. And like because especially if it's something I don't know anything about, it's so interesting because you learn so much if somebody has, and it's like I don't know, there's a lovely energy to it if people are excited for it or passionate about it, and it helps you to draw you into that world a wee bit too.
Victor's way.
Yeah. Victor's way rules.
What you got next?
Okay. So and this has taken me a long time. I still don't think I'm good at this. I think most people aren't. Is learning to accept when people are doing things for you or want to help you in some way, and just saying yes, because
It's a good one.
yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this, because I think it's a very British thing, whereas like it's like no, I could do it myself. I don't need help, that sort of thing. It's like and maybe not seeing it, maybe saying it's a weakness or it feels like a weakness is too strong, but it's like I don't want to put somebody out. I don't want to add to somebody else's burden. But I think what I've learned is that it's it's how other people show love. a lot of the time, if they want, how they help out. And also, I would, I help out people all the time. I do stuff for people all the time. Why should I not accept that help sometimes? And and it's okay too. And I think, honestly, it has helped me grow closer to people, just let my guard down a little, let myself be helped. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just, I think just that. I don't know if I worded it very well, but
I think you did. Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when you help others?
Great.
Like that's part of your purpose?
Yeah, 100%. I think I've said this before, but in some of our mood mental health episodes, I struggle to help myself, but I think I'm very good at helping others. I think I feel like in my darker hours, that feels like very much my only purpose. But I think in my lighter hours, I just see it as part of an essential part of who I am.
Yeah, and I think if you think of it not so much as people taking pity on you or like helping you and allowing that, but like more of like a reciprocal exchange, right?
I think it's love as well.
Yeah.
It's like, I love you, I want to help, I want to do things for the person I love, and but like, I think ego is obviously a hell of a thing for everyone, and people want to be seen as like resilient and strong and capable, so it can be really hard to accept that help sometimes, I think. But I think, and I mean, like, I am by no means perfect at it, but like, by and large, people want to do things for me or offer me something, I'm like, thanks. I just say thank you, and it comes from my heart, and I receive it, and it's been a lot better.
Sometimes you argue, and then I'm like, just say yes, and you're like,
yes,
yes,
yeah, you're right.
Yes. I think in our culture it's very similar. I think part of it has to do with I try and always put things in a little bit of perspective of the fact that we're just a very young country, and it's like we've just had to figure it out, learn by doing, and I think I don't want to generalize, but I think it's more of a masculine trait too. But even as a feminine trait, it's really hard to accept help. And I think, as a woman, like, women can do everything, like, you can have it all, right?
Yeah.
There's that. So then you need to do it all by yourself.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely something that our cultures share.
And I think it's just, it pushes people apart as well. Do you know what I mean? Because like, I think we work better when we're social animals.
It's part of like the community living.
Yeah.
Is like giving help and accepting help.
Yeah. I would also say, and I mean, there are caveats to this. Also, accepting compliments is good as well. Like, I think it's hard for a lot of people, but like, just accept them with grace, and like, not if it's some like, sweaty guy who's like telling you you're sexy. It's okay to reject those compliments.
As you're standing in line at the bathroom.
Yeah. But like, if it's heartfelt, it's from somebody accept the compliment, and just take it into your heart. It can help. Certainly helps me.
I like that. That's a good one. Good. Well picked. Okay, so I'm gonna nerd out for a second, and I've already
Go for it.
Told Andy this, but I have a tattoo, and it says 14.7, and this is based off of our Yoga Anatomy book by Leslie Kremenoff.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so I'm going to read this. So 14.7 is the amount of atmospheric pressure we have on our bodies at all time. So here's the definition of this, based on Leslie's observations and also science. So volume and pressure are inversely related. When volume increases, pressure decreases, and when volume decreases, pressure increases. Because air always flows towards area of lower pressure, increasing the volume inside the thoracic cavity will decrease pressure and cause air to flow into it. This is an inhalation, so that's you taking a breath in. It's important to note that in spite of how it feels when you inhale, you do not actually pull air into the body. On the contrary, air is pushed into the body by the atmospheric pressure, 14.7 pounds per square inch, that always surrounds you. This means that the actual force that gets air into the lungs is outside of the body. The energy expended in breathing produces a shape change that lowers the pressure in the chest cavity and permits the air to be pushed into the body by the weight of the planet's atmosphere. In other words, you create the space and the universe fills it.
Yeah, that's good.
So
I like that one. Yeah, that's lovely.
That is like science says you create, like literally, like you are breathing, and by breathing, you're creating space, and literally the universe is filling it. And so kind of I take that a little bit further and then like, okay, what space can I create in my life? And then what do I want the universe to fill it with? It's super
I like that.
hooey dooey and like out there, but that's kind of, I kind of like to go a step further and make it all about
It's a
me.
nice kind of it's a nice kind of add on. Yeah, no, I like it. It's a nice kind of add on to that sort of idea. You know, because I also have like just breathe written down as an amazing piece of advice. But that's great. I love that quote. I think. I mean, of course I've read it because it's in our textbook.
It was on page like, dude, it was literally on like page 3.
Yeah, of course it did. Definitely. I mean, it does actually sound very familiar, but you know, that was a few years ago. My
your
brain
mind
was like
garden.
Swiss cheese. Yeah, exactly. I like and it does sound, you know, like a no duh thing, but like honestly, just the advice of breathing or like slowing down your breath or focusing your breath is massive, and I think people all too often take it for granted or don't realize how powerful it can be, how powerful a tool it can be. Like in terms of, you know, at times when I've been feeling overly stressed or in like situations that I'm having a hard time with, I just reconnect with my breath. I take deep sort of breaths, and it can really kind of help regulate a lot of shit that's going on in my body, you know. Like even, and I really like, and I mean this is what's been so great with yoga and everything, and you know, with me teaching yoga, is I like kind of, you know, sneakily sliding in different ways to think about breath in my classes. Like I really like my kind of, you did my end breathing exercise thing, and I just like how it kind of, because of the kind of shapes you're making with your hands, it kind of makes me think about the expansiveness of breath and how big it should be and how like big you should let it be. But yeah, it's pretty rad.
And I think a lot, I was thinking about you when I was reading this, and you know, you quitting your job and adding things in, like, okay, and I think I've had this conversation with you probably several times, but like, okay, like you don't have the job, like now what do you want to fill your life with? And you're like, oh well, you know, teaching yoga and dog walking, and it's like you literally did that, you actively did this exercise, but like with your life. And
it's true.
I'm gonna give you a compliment.
Yeah.
You're doing a really good job with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, with what you're feeling, like what you cleared off the table, and now you're resetting the table with like things that make you happy and bring you joy and keep you busy.
That's true.
So
that's true. No, I thank you. I think it's sometimes, and it definitely does take that outside viewpoint sometimes to kind of, you know, even reset things inside yourself. Like I definitely find that for things like that, you know. Like I had a friend who's reached out to me a couple of times and said how delighted he is that I'm doing creative stuff as well, like this. I'm doing the choir and things like that. I'm doing, you know, a little bit of writing here and there, and he's always just like really kind of boosting me about that, and I really appreciate that. It really kind of means a lot to me because, you know, whenever you're like staring at a blank page for a day and you get like fuck all done and you're like, oh god, what a waster I am. But you know, it's not, you know, it's not about that. It really isn't. It's just about, you know, it's about, I think it's also about trying things and not being hard on yourself whenever those things don't necessarily pan out how you expected, you know.
Yeah, just trying is powerful in itself.
Yes.
So, and like an act of bravery in itself. And I always say to the kids, like, this is one of the things I say to them. Like, if you don't try, you'll never, and I'm sure I say it to you all the time, like, if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And that
Absolutely.
is something I've literally lived my life by,
Yeah.
even unconsciously now. Like, try it, and,
Yeah.
it's like, go to the thing, see if it, if you don't go, then you won't, then you'll never know, kind of thing. So, that's my
Yeah.
wisdom.
I like it. It's good.
TM, trademark. I'm sure someone else has said those words, but.
Almost certainly not. Let's trademark it just to be safe.
Right.
No, that was good. Okay. I guess kind of connected to that is and something that has been such a guiding point for me in the entirety of my life, but I think I've only been able to like vocalize it or think about it properly in recent years, is about being curious and about everything. I mean, it even feeds into some of the stuff I've said already in terms of how much I love listening to people talk about new things. How much I love sort of experiencing new things, and like having new adventures and things like that. God, I really feel like it opens you up to so many kind of wonderful possibilities. I feel like there is an inherent sort of vulnerability as part of it, and that can be scary for a lot of people. And also, like, I think we've talked a bit about, like, whenever you are curious, you're probably looking at something you don't know much about, so there will be like a period of like being ignorant about that, and that's also scary for a lot of people. And that's just part of the process. And like yeah, but it's fine to be ignorant about stuff. Everybody's ignorant about nearly everything.
It's true. Whether or not
So
they
it's
like to
fine.
admit it.
Exactly.
We know nothing.
So we know nothing. We know like a fraction of, even if you know lots, such a larger amount that you know nothing about, and that's fine.
I think
So
too, that ties into like being a life learner
yeah.
and keeping your mind sharp. And I'm not trying to be trite with any of this, but like keeping your
No.
mind sharp and like being curious creates like new opportunities, like the way that you live your life, and you're like, all right, I'm throwing myself into this thing that I've never done before.
Yeah.
And it is brave and it is scary and it's all the things, but that all stems from the curiosity.
Absolutely. I think you see people. I remember recently when we were in Dublin for the jazz festival, and we saw there was the Irish group, the first group that we saw performing. And there was a jazz guitarist, and I was watching his fingers on the guitar, and it was just mind blowing. And I was like, I will never, become close to this skill level. It's kind of insane to me. Like, so few people would ever. And I feel like not oftentimes, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but like people would maybe be jealous of that, but instead just be like, how incredible,
Yeah.
how incredible
Yeah.
that this guy has dedicated his life to this thing, and that I get to see it as well.
I was watching them. So it was what, three of them? The pianist, the
Yeah.
cellist, and the jazz guitarist.
Double bass. Yes, yeah.
And just watching, because it was largely improv, but they were like, okay, this is the song, but then they would like go off and each of them would take a piece and do a little solo. But it was so interesting to me. And again, I was having a similar thought, like, I'll never have this kind of conversation, but they were literally having a conversation using musical instruments.
Yeah.
And like, you could tell like one of them was like doing something, the other ones are like, this is cool and funny, and they were like giggling, and like they were having emotions. And it was like the coolest thing. It was the coolest thing. And I was a little jealous, I'm gonna be honest.
Which is completely fine.
And just the idea of like playing an
I'm
instrument, not worrying about like which note am I playing, but you're just like playing from your soul, kind of thing.
Like, it's just so true. And I think that, like, I mean, it is one of the things I'm planning to do in life, is learn an instrument well enough. I would really just love to jam with somebody or with a group of people. I love the idea of that, and I think it's within my capability to do. I just need to like bring my focus to it. There was a video game podcast I listened to, and they were talking about it today, and one of the guys was like, he'd completed this really difficult game, like a notoriously difficult game, and beat the final boss, and he was like a notoriously difficult boss. And what he took from that was like, I was able to apply myself to this. I was able to do it. And so that means that I have the capability within myself to set myself to a difficult task and achieve it. And he used that to go and like teach himself how to play the piano. And I'm like, that rocks. That's the right way to look at that sort of thing, you know.
This is totally off topic, but I was watching a video of Dolly Parton playing the guitar for Johnny Carson last night.
Nice.
She wrote a song about like being on Johnny Carson's show, and and part of the reason I don't play the ukulele is like I've got like fingernails that are long, and I like having longer fingernails. This is like totally stupid, but Dolly Parton, that woman has fingernails that are like 2 feet long. And she plays the shit out of a fucking guitar.
Interesting.
So, all things are possible. Look at Dolly Parton playing the guitar.
Yeah, it is. I love it. Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so I have one for you that used to drive me crazy. This was my mom's solution for all things. Like, I had a hard day. My friends are fighting. This person was mean to me. Her advice: why don't you take a walk? Have you taken a walk? When was the last time you took a walk? And now I'm older. As much as I hate to admit it, she was fucking right.
Yeah.
Like, get outside. Get outside. Change your perspective. Like, to me, it was like, I felt at the time, like, you're minimizing my feelings. I have big feelings. I'm a teenager.
Yep.
Or whatever. And now I'm like, no, like, literally, like, that's the best advice ever. Other than, like, get on your yoga mat.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, like, great for, like, problem solving as well. If you're, like, bashing your head against a wall, go for a walk. And oftentimes, if you're not thinking about a problem, you'll often, like, a solution will just pop into your head, you know? It's really good for just kind of that sort of brain sort of cleanse or, like, you know, reset.
Yes. Especially if there's 2 Labradors.
Oh.
So, side story. When I was visiting you're walking these 2 labs that are the strongest beasts ever.
Yeah, they are.
They're like otherworldly. And Andy does this by himself, these 2 labs.
Yeah.
And I was literally like using all of my body weight to pull myself backwards as they're like peeing on each other and running and like being adorable. But yeah, that's
I took some photos of them at the weekend. Actually, I must send you. They look adorable. Like they are the sweetest looking boys. Like you have no idea, but like they are rowdy and they are like I've never encountered dogs that pull quite as much, and they both do it, and they're both pretty friggin' strong. So it's like, so I'm kind of like, I'd say, when I'm walking them at like a 45-degree angle, because I just have to lean my body weight back, because that's the only way I can kind of keep any sort of control over them. It's interesting. It's definitely the hardest I work at dog walking.
Yeah,
Definitely.
You earn your money. I'll say that.
Yes.
Yeah. So take a walk. You'll feel better.
That's a great one. That's a really great one. I really like that a lot.
Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome. Oh yeah, okay. So one of the ones was from me, and it's definitely a nerves thing, was to slow down, was to take a breath, to not be afraid of a bit of silence. Which is massive for me when I'm teaching yoga, and like just generally. I mean, I think I used to, like, I'm guilty of it sometimes, but I just used to talk so quickly because I was so nervous all the time. And so it's just,
now you realize it's just because you're Irish.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's true.
You guys talk fast.
Yes, we do.
I know you slow it down for me, and I appreciate it.
I think I used to talk fast even for somebody over here, honestly, and I would get that feedback from people in this country, so I was just, but it was just nerves, and I was just, and also sometimes excitement with me because I had something that I really wanted to say and I just couldn't. It was just, it just was overflowing me trying to get this out in like a coherent manner.
Mm-hmm. It's something I use with the kids a lot. Like when they're having a hard time, like we use breath as like, I literally am like, take a breath, just take a breath, breathe in, breathe out. It's interesting how much we're talking about breathing.
It is.
With advice.
It's the best.
It is the
piece
best.
Of advice. Like, and I think people find it almost patronizing sometimes. I think there are
take a
worse
breath,
things you can
just
say
take
to
a breath.
somebody.
Yeah.
But like, I think that is better. And one of the other things that I had written down was, if people are stressed out, never, ever, 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 ever tell them to calm down or to
ask them if they're stressed out,
or tell them to relax. Neither of those, unless your aim is to make them more stressed out, or then do not say those things. I think it's sometimes like I will just give people some space, or you know what I do sometimes is I start breathing like just if they're stressing out, just if they can hear me breathe in rather than me going, because take a breath can also annoy people. But I think it's the more valuable thing under those circumstances than calm down. Mm-hmm. Oh, calm down. Perfect. That's just what I need to do right now. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah. And like when the kids are upset, I'll hold them. And sometimes like they'll be crying, but I'll be breathing. Just so they can like through osmosis, right? They can feel it. And then once they start to calm down, then they start to match my breath. And then I'm like, good parenting.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's good with animals as well. And honestly, both ways, like her being near to me and breathing beside me has been a massive help to me when I've been in a bad way. Just being able to like listen to that, and also like especially when they're like on you, and you can like feel the rise and fall of their chests and stuff like that. It can really kind of help you get out of bad situations.
Mm-hmm. I have one for you.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking pay attention.
Sorry, what?
Fucking pay attention.
Oh, okay. Fine.
But it's true.
I guess I will.
It's true. It's true.
It is.
It's true. And like...
It is.
I think it's easy, like in a bigger context, it's really easy to zone out. It's really easy to be like, to scroll, right? And to not be actively like paying attention to what's going on in the world, what's going on literally around you in like the moment, all the things. And there's so many things that are trying to distract us that are like brain vacation, like let's eat some mashed potatoes, right? Mm-hmm. Easy. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm not gonna like walk down the political path or like anything like that, but I think part of what we need to do as human beings is always, pay attention to what's going on around us, be discerning, pay attention, make your own judgments based on the attention that you're paying instead of just having stuff like fed to you.
Yeah, pour it into your brain without any filter whatsoever. No, I hear you.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah.
That
was my father. That was my father.
I think it's a good one. I think that like, I think people. And certain attention spans and something we have talked about before, I think are shot to shit, generally speaking.
Our brains are shrinking and they don't know
really?
They don't know why. Oh, I air quoted that. They don't know why. And I'm like, of course their brains are shrinking. We're not using them.
It's so horrible. Like we really are being conditioned, broken down. It's such a nightmare. I think and that's what I was going to say. I think definitely pay attention, but also kind of be aware of like the limitations of your attention span sometimes as well, and like don't be hard on yourself if you can't, and like if you need to like
take a break,
dissect information in bite-sized chunks, do it that way, But
there's so much now, so
there is. Yeah. If you find it slipping, maybe just take a step back. But it's important. It really is. Do I have anything else? You know, the only other one I have written down here is, and it's something that I kind of have a strong feeling about, is that in terms of speaking, I think it's always good just to not talk unless you actually have something to say.
That's good.
Because like I have encountered so many people in my life who just talk because there's space to fill, or because they want, like, you know, my main source of this sort of thing is the sales reps that I've known that just have to talk. That's their job, and it's like, and they're just telling me stuff, and I'm like, I just don't care about this. And it's like, oftentimes, you know, these amazing stories that I guess they drop on their on their clients, or, you know, something that makes them look like a cool or interesting person, and just like, you know, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care about all this sort of, you know, stroking your own ego stuff. I just you know, yeah. But it is what it is. It's you know, part of that horrifying world, I guess. You know,
Sales reps.
Just sales in general, yeah. But sales reps particularly, like, I mean, I've met some nice ones, for the most part, but like most of them are, you know, walking, talking nightmare machines.
Yeah. Do you guys have a, like, is that a lot of what people do? Do you have a lot of sales?
I don't think we have a lot, but we have some. And like, I really don't, it's you know, it's certainly my own personal prejudice. I have such a problem with it, and I really hate, like, we have, and I say I lump them in as well, we have people that come door to door asking you to sign up for like charity things.
Gotcha.
And I really hate the blatant manipulation of it, and I can, you know, you can see it so clearly, and it really kind of pisses me off. You know, because it's like, you know, I believe in charity, I believe in, but I hate getting the hard sell. I really do. It really kind of puts me off this, you know, that sort of thing. You know, in terms of what I do for charity and what I kind of give the charity, I prefer to do it on my own terms, and what I can afford, be that time or money or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I hate the kind of language and stuff that's used to kind of pressure you into giving whenever you can't really, you know. I really don't like that at all.
Yeah, I think I like that a lot.
Yeah. It's just, as I say, it's just, you know, things like, well, of course we can count you to blah blah blah. I have like a few systems now to like get the
do you guys
number
have,
one with,
can you put like no soliciting on your doors? Do you have,
people do that a little bit. It's not as much. I remember seeing it more in the US,
but everybody,
it does happen. Yeah.
And so like the only ones that can knock on your door if you put up like no soliciting, thank you. I have a nice one. Some of them are like, you know, no soliciting, beware of dog. Right. Yeah. But churches can solicit.
Oh, okay.
So,
of course they can.
Gotten in a little argument over that.
Yeah, I'll bet. That sucks. But my clause, and this system that always works now, is that, because it was true for a couple of years, is that when they say, you know, can we count for some money? I say, look, I'm unemployed, unfortunately. And
you're like, can you donate some money to me?
Yes. And that's an immediate, like, oh shit, we can't put any pressure on him. He doesn't have any money, you know. Right. So that's been a good one to kind of get, a very kind of a quick one to get so out. And it's only kind of a white lie currently.
Well, I guess, like, in your culture, do you guys listen and give, normally, I mean, I've done door-to-door sales. As a child, I was selling cookies, and I've never had more people slam the door in my face.
Yeah, I remember you talked about that before. Yeah. I talked about doing it in Australia.
Yeah.
So I normally like, you're pretty quick,
but your culture generally, like, you're kind, and so people, like, you give them the time of day.
So people do just smile and nod for a bit. Like, these early on, I normally like to say, look, I'm either busy or I can't, but like sometimes that doesn't stop them, you know. And then like I'm like, okay, because like I don't want to waste their time. I don't want them to waste my time. So let's get this over and done with. But you know, some of them have clearly been told you've got to do the hard sell, you've got to keep pushing, you know, and I'm like, okay, look, you know, do your spiel. I'm still going to say no. We're going to walk away, you know, and both of our time will have been wasted for no gain.
Right,
you know?
right. That's interesting. Okay, let's see. No. I'm going to say... Mike said this, actually, and I think I've mentioned this to you before. When you don't show up, people notice, but when you do show up, people don't notice. So it's like, should I go do this thing? Like, someone's getting married. Like, are there really, like, 300 people are going to be there or whatever? And it's like, you know, if you're not there, people will notice.
Very good. Why is Beth not there? Where is she? Where is she? Yeah, it's true.
So it's like, I think that governs a lot of our decisions in terms of, like, you know, being places and showing up for people. Yeah. And I think it's good to show up for people.
I agree.
Even if it's not like always what we want to do, but we should.
If it's important to them, there's somebody you care about. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I really do.
Yeah.
And like, you know, like, you know, I'd say like 9 times out of 10, whatever those things are, probably will be something you might wind up enjoying anyway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And kind of like what we were talking about, just like getting out in the world a little bit more. Yeah. It's like, this is an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
To show up.
Very much so. No, I like that one. That's good. Nice.
I have one more. Okay, so this is
let's do it.
My favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, and this is a quote from Atticus Finch. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb in his skin and walk around in it.
So true.
And I think I try really hard to do that. Not always well, but to really try and especially, you know, when the world is crazy right now, everything is crazy right now, and things are so divided, like, okay, like, how can we, like, today the Pope gave an interview and was like, we all need to come together, you know, and it's like, I just it's
no, I like that. And I think, you know, the version of it I, you know, keep hearing, I think people would roll their eyes at this, is just to, like, give everybody a little bit of grace, because there is zero chance that you have any idea what this person is going through at this time in their lives. Whenever, like, somebody cuts you off, or, you know, takes the trolley that you were eyeing up at the supermarket, like, it's just, you don't know. Yeah. And, like, it's so easy to be like, oh, that person's a asshole or whatever. But, like, you don't know that. You don't know them at all. You don't know their struggles. You have to, I mean, even if you know them well, you probably only know a fraction of that, you know? And it's just, I think that it's often a way of, you know, by condemning other people, it's often a way to, like, you know, pacify things that are going on within yourself. Temporarily, at least anyway. It's probably not a lasting fix. But yeah, just, you know, who knows what's going on in people's lives, you know, just, you know, going back in one of our earlier pieces of advice, just take a breath and go, does this really matter that much? Yeah. I'd say a lot of the time it won't at all.
Yeah. And, like, in a year, is the person that cut me off and me, like, giving them the finger and honking, like, am I going to remember that? Me, probably, but...
It depends how bad the honk
was.
Or if it one of those really obnoxious horns that play like a theme tune or something like that.
I wish that would happen more often. No.
There was in that show I keep banging on about, How To with John Wilson.
Yes.
He encountered a guy who had a car horn that played the Godfather theme tune.
Oh my gosh.
Made me laugh a lot. So if somebody, like, yeah, exactly. So if somebody cut you off with a Godfather horn, you're gonna remember that.
I'd wait. I'd be like, yeah, you go.
You got it, man.
I hope your microcosm of a life isn't too difficult.
Exactly. I mean, you're bringing joy with your car horn, you know. So yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap things up. Yeah.
Next time we'll do
Um.
bad advice we've ever gotten.
Yeah, that's right. It's gonna be an even longer list.
It was actually easy to come
So,
up with these, I'll say.
yeah, no, it was, and they started kind of flowing out, and like, I think I was struggling to try to like find, like I said at the top, sources for them, but then I was like, it doesn't really matter. I think a lot of the time, you know, like I would equate. I've got great advice from a lot of people in my life, and some of that is probably, you know, some of the things I've said is probably attributable to them, you know, but it's, you know, so yeah, just surround yourself with good people and you'll get good advice.
Yeah, that's there it is. That's a t-shirt.
Yep. That's true.
Have me as your friend, you'll get good advice.
Oh yeah, and I forgot my t-shirt as well. It's a good piece of advice.
Be humble.
Be humble, yeah. Be humble. Just, you know, relax, guys. All right, just relax. Don't stop trying to like tell people, you know, show people how friggin' smart you are. Just be humble. It's fine. Whatever. It's just feeding your own ego anyway, and it's probably going to be a temporary fix at best. We are. Beth and I both talked about this. We are wired and woolly. we have a nuts energy, and I think it's a good energy to have for an advice-based podcast. Actually, as it has turned out, you know.
You're welcome, world.
But yeah, you are welcome, world.
All right, Andy.
So
time.
Moving on.
Yes.
Moving on to our favorite portion of the podcast to ask you what's been bringing you joy this week.
Okay. Do you guys have Amazon Prime?
Yes.
Okay. I'm watching Outer Range.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's so freaking good. And like all these timelines that are crazy are like moving and shifting and coming together, and like time's shifting and moving and coming together, and it's just I love it. I love it. Like last night I think we watched like 3 episodes because I couldn't stop. Mike's like, I gotta go to sleep, and I'm like, fine. I could have pulled an all night. I was trying to pull an all nighter apparently.
And all out of range all nighter.
Yes.
I've heard good things about that.
So
it's also
good.
What's the main guy? I really like him. Josh Brolin.
He's a Goonie,
he's great.
so
yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, he is. That's true. Yeah, that rules. Yes, I must check it out. Actually, I have heard good things about it. I am really kind of waiting for The Boys season 4.
Ooh, when is that supposed to come out? It's literally like probably my top 5 favorite shows ever.
Yeah. So I'm excited for
Superheroes being assholes.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, so
Mike reminds me of Billy
from the Goonies.
No.
Wait a second.
The Boys.
Sorry, going back from The Boys. Yes.
Billy the Butcher. Like I'm watching the show and I'm like, this is my husband.
So this is the guy who I won't get into the story now. Beth found out that I met him only when we were down in Dublin. Remember?
I forgot to tell Mike this.
Yeah. And I complimented him how good he was. What excellent bones he was in the Star Trek movie. Yes.
And I was like, I'm glad. What was he talking about, Judge Dredd?
He was talking about Judge Dredd.
Yeah. Which
so good.
I'm Judge Dredd.
Which is I thought he was really good. I thought it was a really good
rewatch
movie,
it with my opinion. He just frowns the whole time. Smile, buddy.
He does frown. But that's hey. You don't tell Judge Dredd to smile, okay? Not smiling is his trademark.
You don't tell Billy the Butcher to smile.
Well, this is also true.
Yeah. You don't tell anyone to smile.
No, actually, really don't.
No.
The Broad City Girls had the best response to that, which was like in one of the episodes, somebody's like, "Hey, darling, why don't you try smiling sometimes?" And they put up their middle fingers at either edges of their mouth and push their mouths. It's okay. So yeah.
What about you?
So what's been bringing me joy this week? So I actually ended up because it was my mom's birthday recently.
Happy birthday to your mom! Please say I said happy birthday.
I will pass that along. I I took her out for lunch. Like, we both have busy schedules, because we're such, have, incredible lives. And we finally went out and I took her like a Japanese restaurant, which she loves. And I was a little bit apprehensive because, especially as you get older and there's more separation, like we still love each other, but it's like, what are we going to talk about for an hour? But it was lovely. And we just had a nice chat, and it was just nice to spend some time with her. And I'm glad we did it. It was not. It was also fun watching her like try to use chopsticks. And me being a smug asshole with all my.
You're like juggling them and like
hold one of them in place. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it was great. It was really great. So the other thing is
you're like picking up your cell phone with your chopsticks and dialing a number with your chopsticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing your hair.
What do you mean you can't do this? It's really easy. It's been a real prick about it. And the other thing, was that I said I would mention it at the start, said I would mention it at the end. Thinking about the Mighty Hike again. I'm going to be pestering people about this, so you'll see it on social media and stuff like that. I understand times are tough, very much so, and if people can't afford to send me any money, I completely understand. But if you could, it would be much appreciated. It's for a very worthy cause,
even if it's a pound.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's Macmillan Cancer Research, which I think is an important charity. I think cancer is still a plague on us all and affects so many people I know, and has affected many people I love. So I think it's a very worthwhile charity.
So I will make sure to put that on our social medias, and also I'll put it on our website on the main page, and just so people remember, our website's getting traffic lately. I changed some of the photos, so you're welcome, world. It's us in front of a water feature, making funny faces. But we are bendypodcast.com. You can access our YouTube videos. You can actually watch us record our chats over Zoom, and access a bunch of different stuff via the website. So, and now also Andy's charity. So
yes,
go
please. Thank you.
there to the website, and we appreciate all of you for your support.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Cool. So Beth, can you tell the fine folks about where they can find us, or
Bendy Podcast?
I mean, like the Bendy Podcast website.
BendyPodcast.com. We're also on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We are on LinkedIn. We're on
Are we on LinkedIn?
TikTok. We're on Instagram. And who knows what else I've got us into? I don't even know.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So just like whatever you use, search for Bendy Podcast and you'll probably find us there.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
I'm glad I got you to do this.
You can even Google us. If you Google Bendy the Podcast, we show up as the number one.
Nice.
Yeah, we made it there.
There you go, folks. Hooray.
Yay,
we're number one.
We're number one.
We're number one.
For three words, we're number one.
Yes, exactly. So good. Okay, so we would like to remind you as
way better. I'm going to do way better than last week. I was embarrassed by my.
Okay, we'll see.
breathe, Beth. Breathe.
Okay. We would like to remind you to stay bendy. Killer.
Twinsies.
Possibly killer. Twinsies.
Right.
All right. We love you.
We love you. Bye.